Hey guys, it is Kelly here with Live with Kelly, and I'm so excited today. We are in day 3 of our 5-day Conquer Your Message challenge, and I'm really excited about sharing this with you. So, welcome, happy Wednesday, everybody. So, what we're going to be diving into today is capturing content. And what do we mean by capturing? We're talking about content that when your ideal client scrolls or sees an email, that it leaps off the screen or it leaps off the page and gets their undivided attention, right? So, the big part is a lot of times I hear from my clients that the biggest complaint is that they lack confidence, they lack consistency, and they lack visibility. And that's why the work that we did from day 1 and day 2 is so important. And really, if you go back to the work that we did on day 1, when it all clicks together, when it finally makes sense, when you really lock in who you are, your confidence, and I've talked a little bit about that for the last couple of days, your confidence is going to go through the roof, right? You're going to show up, your passion is going to ignite, it's going to be conveyed in what you write and how you phrase things. And if you're doing a video, it's going to be conveyed through our language and our mannerisms and our inflections and our tones, right? So when you show up more confidently, when you lock in who you are and what your core message is, that's when you're going to show up more confidently. You're going to be more consistent with your content, and visibility is no longer going to be an issue. Okay, so remember that. If you are struggling with consistency and visibility, you need to go back to day 1 and really hone in on that. Something else that I'd like to share, just a comment, a thought in reference to it is, a lot of times when we first dig into our stories, it is really easy to see the struggle and the things that didn't quite turn out the way that we wanted them to. And really what I want to impart on you is that you have to look at what went right. You have to look at what you learned from that struggle. And even though the outcome may not have been what you wanted it to be, learning from that, it empowered you at a future circumstance, a future situation. So you did learn from it. It did make you stronger, more knowledgeable. So it made you better in the end. It may have been painful to go through while you went through it, and I'm really sorry because there's a lot of stories like that, but it made you who you are today. So rather than focusing on the outcome that wasn't as good as you wanted it to be, I want you to focus on how it helps you become a better version of yourself. Because that focus on how it made you a better person in some way, shape, or form, that is the part, it's the positive aspects of that you need to key in on and lean into, okay? So let's get back to the task at hand. We're talking about capturing content. I've also heard it referred to in the industry as sticky content because it sticks to our ideal audience out there. And if you're struggling with, selling one of your programs or one of your services, one of your products, I guarantee you have to go back to day 1 and day 2. If you go back to day 1 and day 2 and you get crystal clear on who you are and what you stand for, and you look at the pain points with your client, you're going to be able to improve your sales copy skills. okay, which is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to build on what we've done day 1 and day 2. All right, so in day 1, we made a list of our descriptives. We have written out a few stories that we've named that resonate with our core values and our message. And then in day 2, we really dug deep into what our ideal client, who they are and what they look like. We really painted a phenomenal picture of them, okay, full of the colors, their likes, their dislikes, where they hang out, their struggles. And remember, I said to you yesterday, if you really want to take it deep, 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 which I think you should, where you should be with getting the picture for them, think about what keeps them up at night. What is the last thing that they think of before they go to bed? And what do they think of? What's the first thing on their minds when they get up in the morning? When you have people that are in real struggle, they may not show it, they may not post it all over on social media, but I guarantee you the struggle is very, very real, and they need you, okay? They need you to help them get through that, okay? So you've got these 2 lists. So then what you do, I'm going through my notes here, is when you look at the list from day 2, when you wrote out their pain points, you wrote out their struggles, you wrote out the desired outcome that they want, you should very easily be able to list out 15, 20, maybe even 25, 30 things that you can talk about. Okay? So in the beginning, when I really struggled with this, was I felt like I could only come up with 3 or 4 things. And the problem was that I hadn't dug deep enough. I hadn't made that list long enough of the pain points. It's almost like a why exercise. Well, why? Why do you want to do this? I want to do this because of this. Well, why do you want to do this? I want to do this because of this. And you keep going down that step ladder, and all of a sudden you can see, name every detail. And in those details, you're going to make a list, and of those lists, those are topics that you can write about, okay? The next trick is when you're creating your sticky content is, what are their objections? Okay? What are their objections with working with you? Make a list of those. Make a list of the objections, okay? So you've got a list of pain points and struggles. So you should have about 15 to 20 of those. Then list out your objections. Figure you've got, another 4 or 5 there. And then list out your desired outcomes, okay? So when you put all of that together, you now have the ability to put together a significant amount of content. Now remember, when we're talking about content, we're not talking about necessarily a 5,000 word essay. You're thinking about content that is going to resonate with your client. So think of it as a social media post, whether you're putting it on Instagram or you're sending out a tweet or you're putting a post up on Instagram, for example, all right? Or maybe you're writing an email sequence. Well, if you have 30 things to talk about, you have 30 days of content at your fingertips, because you can take one of those pain points a day and write them an email about that pain point, and then finish up with, and I have the answer, or I felt the same way too, here's the link, come see this. Okay, and you can lead them back to a blog, you can take them to a landing page, you can take them to a website, wherever it is that you're wanting to take them. But the point is that you've got your topics, okay? So you can, let's say you've got 20 days of pain points and struggle, then you've got another 5 to 10 of desired outcome, then you've got the objections. You have your topic of what you need to write about. So once you have your topics and you're standing in a place of true authenticity and you have locked in who you are and what your core message is, when you see that first topic come up, it should be very easy for you to effortlessly write a post or write an email to your ideal client about that one piece. And keep it simple. You don't need to talk about all 20 things. Only talk about the one piece that day, okay? And because you've made a list of these pain points and the objections and the desired outcome, you came up with that list of your ideal client. We also call it your ideal avatar, all right? You're going to be using words and phrases that resonates with them. So when you're writing that email or you're writing that social media post, you're going to be grabbing those common words and those common themes and weaving them into the message that you're writing. And that is how it becomes sticky content, okay? Because you're using the language of your client when you're speaking with them. Remember yesterday I shared the story about the apple vendor and being at the farmer's market, and how it wasn't until that vendor who had red delicious apples did I stop and he had my full attention. It's going to be the same way. He was using the language that resonated with me. I heard it, I recognized it, and it was in tune, and I stopped and I went to look and I bought his red delicious apples. This is how you start, okay? I don't care where you're at in your business. I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care if you're seasoned. If you do not have day one, you don't have it locked in, and you don't have day two locked in, everything else that you do to grow your business, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an online marketer, whether you're an affiliate, whether you're a coach, a trainer, it doesn't matter. Everything all comes back to day one and day two. And that's why I said to you in the beginning, if you do not have these pieces here as the foundation, everything else that you build around it is not going to sustain. And let's face it, we're doing this because we want to help people, but we also need to get paid for the value of what we bring. And the only way we can do that is if we have day one and day two locked in, okay? And I really think, for me personally, when I sat and wrote my stories out, that was the eye-opener, because it opened the door for me to effortlessly reach everything else that I needed to. So no longer do I have a problem with coming up with content. I don't have a problem with what words am I going to say? How long does this need? It all went away. It became a non-issue. So especially if you're just starting, you want to make sure that you're starting out on the right foot by doing this, okay? So I know I keep circling back to day one and day two. It is just, it's vital. It is vital to the success of any program that you're putting out there, all right? So there's three points to remember from today. And I'm sorry I kind of got on my soapbox there, but I feel so strongly about this, and I know how important this is. This is a game changer for you guys. It really, really is. So 3 points to remember. And I do want to say this. I want to add this in there. When you're writing your content, whether it's a social media post or whether it is an email sequence to your clients, eventually you want to take them on the journey to where they buy your product or your service, okay? And what I hear so often from people in the industry is that they struggle with getting people to buy their product. They have a decent amount of followers, but they're not able to convert them. So this leads me into point number 1 from today. You have to use the pain points of your clients. You have to use the desired outcome. You know, if you have to use those three pieces: the pain points, the struggles, the objections, and the desired outcomes. All right, number one. Number two, you're going to use these as bullet points in your subject headlines. Are you frustrated? Ready to lose weight without going to the gym? That's a desired outcome and an objection. Okay, you're going to use this in your subject headlines and in your subtitles, and then pull that message through in the paragraphs that follow it. Okay. If you're not sure what they might be struggling with, if you're looking for more content, one thing you can do is go to Google and put in weight loss. Put in whatever, and I keep going back to weight loss today. For some reason, that's on the brain, and that's not even my niche. But whatever you're looking, whatever your niche is, go to Google and plug it in and see what comes up. See what kind of language pops up, and then do another search for that. Another key piece when you're doing research is if you go to Amazon and go to their book section, type in the name of the book, How to Lose 20 Pounds in 30 Days. Well, that would not be safe. How to Lose 20 Pounds in 90 Days. Okay? Look at the books that have a 4 or more star rating in them. And then go down to what you're looking for are books that have been very popular, and look at their titles. Okay? Also, if you scroll down, once you get to that point, scroll down to the bottom and look for the area where it says customers who bought this also bought, and it will show you additional books in the bottom. That's another really good place to get more information. You can also, underneath that section, you will find where it says customers also searched for. Now, what I like about the customers always searched for is a lot of times it will give me another peripheral layer where I can find my ideal client, where they're hanging out, and what they're looking for. Okay, and just, you want to take it in and add it to the information. My pastor used to have a saying, keep the meat and throw away the bone. And it's the same thing. Some of it is not going to apply, but some of it will. All right, so use the parts that are valuable to you when you're writing. In closing today, so you've got your pain points, you've got your desired outcomes, you've got your objections, right? You need to make sure that your content is relatable, it's consumable, and it's actionable. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Number one, it needs to relate to your client, and it needs to relate to the niche, the topic that you're on. Okay. Number two, it needs to be consumable. Do not get into what we call technobabble. Okay. Do not fill it with a bunch of stats, because that is not something that's going to jump out and grab their attention. Okay, there's a place and a time, but when you're trying to write landing pages, capture pages, media posts that are going to grab their attention, not the place for the stats. Okay, a lot of times the reader is not going to relate to it. Okay, and actionable, you want to give them something. You want to give them a call to action at the end of it. So if you're writing a social media post, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to a lead magnet that you have, so that you can build your email list and build your following? You know, that's a whole other training. Have something in there that you want them to do. Do you have a cheat sheet? Do you have a checklist? Do you have a resource, some type of the top 10 strategies to blank? Okay, that would be a great lead magnet. But again, when you're putting all the social, this drives me nuts, and I'm going to get on my soapbox here, and I'll just for a moment. There are a lot of coaches and gurus out there that say you need to be on social media, and you need to be posting on Instagram, and you need to be posting on Twitter, and you need to post. You do not need to spend 15 hours or 10 hours or 8 hours or 6 hours of your day on social media. You need a key marketing strategy that is connected to content that's going to resonate, and it needs to have a call to action so that if you put something out there that doesn't have a call to action, you are wasting your time. Stop doing it. Okay? Just stop doing it. I do not want you spending your time on social media glued to your computer or your phone. What you need to be doing is looking at how to do it strategically and how to automate those posting processes, which is easily done. Okay? If you're developing a course, you need to be having time putting that material together and getting your videos done. Doing the stuff that actually monetizes your business and your growth, not just putting a post out to put a post out. You need to have a marketing strategy. So, I'm sorry, I'm off my soapbox. Once again, recap for today. You want to make sure that you're using the pain points, the struggles, and the objections in the titles and subtitles. Okay? Uh-oh, where did you go? There we are. Number 2, make sure that you weave it into the message itself. And number 3, you want to make sure that your content is relatable, it is consumable, which that's why PDF files are a great way to do that as a bonus, and you want to make them actionable. Okay? So with that, I'm just looking over my notes. That's everything that I had for today. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear some of your aha moments. So please take the time and leave a comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like. All that information helps me, and it also gives me greater insight to you guys. So I'm really super excited. Tomorrow we're going to get into day 4. So until then, guys, go make it a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.